Hello, love to you and all your loved ones and the experience of all that is. I want to do a quick video about quantum physics, or as it's called, quantum mechanics sometimes. You know, in the consciousness communities, New Age communities, we talk about it a lot. So I just want to explain it a little bit if you don't know. Okay, one specific thing is there was an experiment called the double slit experiment. Now there was some sort of, machine that shot out photons, light particles, very small. Quantum physics deals with things on a subatomic level. And every time scientists find out about the different worlds, like, there was a cellular world, and then when they went to the quantum world, just all the rules changed. It's just defies all explanation already. Because when you go to different levels, it's like going to a different dimension. It's like all the rules change. Okay, anyways, there was a screen of some sort which had two slits in it, okay? And then this gun or whatever shot out a very small particle, a photon. I think they did it with other things too, but they shot a photon at it. And see, what they wanted to do, they shot it at the middle in between the two slits. Slit here, slit there. And they shot it in the middle, and they wanted to see which way it would go. And they were noticing that it was sometimes acting as a wave and sometimes acting as a particle. They talk about this in What the Bleep Do We Know? Okay, so a good way to explain it is, depending on where the scientist was looking at it, it would actually change locations, which is mind-blowing already. And then when you think about it, like, let's say you observed it over here on the right side, but then when they look on this side, then that same exact particle ends up being over here. And another implication of that is that time has changed too, because the time it takes to go, theoretically, to go from here to there, how do you explain that? So time and matter is kind of getting blown out of the water with just this experiment. Another way to explain it is on a bigger level. Say there was a planet, and then there was a light particle. Like, let's say Earth is over here, right? And let's say a light particle is coming over here. Well, we obviously know that the light particle can't go through the planet, so it has to either go on this side or that side. Of course, there's other sides, but just to make it easy, let's say it can go to the right or it can go to the left to reach us so that we can see the light, right? Or whatever, measure the light. So then what it was, this is just a different example of exactly what the double slit experiment figured out. So let's say the scientist looked on the right side, right, and he saw that that light particle was here. But then when they observe this side, that particle ends up over here. Now see, look, time has to change because it takes time to go from here to here. Of course, what it really is probably is it's in both places at once. It's a wave. Wave meaning it's invisible. It only becomes a particle once consciousness focuses on it. And then look how that applies to our world. Let's say you have this is probably true. Like, we have parallel realities of everything we've ever decided, which is like, infinite number, right? There's one of you that is a millionaire, there's one of you that's homeless, there's one of you that's, doing okay, there's one of you that's, doing really, really bad, and everything in between. And what you focused on is what kind of snaps into a particle or into matter, into modern reality, into your experience, just to, bring it to your life. But this is something that has been repeated, it's verified. Quantum physics has been around since 1900. I mean, the beginnings of it. Max Planck and then Albert Einstein in 1905 started to look into it, or quantum principles. So if this wasn't legit, it would have been destroyed a long time ago. Scientists just couldn't make it go away, and in fact, they still want it to go away, but they just can't because it's just too obvious for anyone that really knows. There's so many scientists that have done these experiments, peer-reviewed over and over, repeated the experiments. It's just true. After 100 years, of experiments, and even if they were trying to disprove it, they can't. Another thing I want to talk about is the very common thing that people talk about as well as quantum entanglement, because Albert Einstein called it spooky action at a distance because it freaked him out because it put his world upside down. They put two particles like photons or something, I think, and they had them like 7 miles apart. And these particles, I think it was the same particle, and they split it in half and made it two. And then they split it apart to like, I don't know, like at least, I think it was over 5 miles apart. And then they did something to one, and then the other one would do the same thing. And then they thought, okay, well, how long does it take for it to, for this one to move and then this one to move? Because they're thinking in the old school physics, the mainstream dinosaur physics. But then they realized that when this one moved, the other one moved, there was no delay, there was no lag. So that goes into things like prayer. Like, how can you heal somebody, that's miles away from you? Like, a lot of healers can do miraculous healings without even being in the person's presence. It's a quantum thing. We live in a quantum reality. And like, I hear that saying, everything is everything, and I never understood what that meant, but it's really just a quantum principle. Everything is everything. There's everything is a fractal. If God is the whole, God and everything exists in every particle. I've explained this before. Just like you have every part of your body in your foot, it's a fractal of your body. Same thing applies to everything else. And this is something that in old ancient religions, they've always thought about things this way. Buddhism, Hinduism, shamanism, and so it was nothing new, but we just said, oh, that's old school stupid, cavemen thinking. And lo and behold, quantum physics proved that what the ancients were saying, right now modern science, it's proven that it's true, It's not out in the mainstream because they don't want to put this out everywhere, because they don't like that idea, because they want their old school, they always want the old school stuff to keep us in the dark, But there's so many things that have been proven wrong, but we think that they're true, but no, it's just they want us to live in the past because they don't want us to progress. Who is they? Well, governments, corporations, because, like they say, knowledge is power, wisdom is power, awareness changes everything, and, on deeper levels too. But anyway, I just want to close by saying there's this Siberian and shamanic saying, and, they say shamanism can be traced back 100,000 years. And the humans that we are anatomically correct humans, we've been here for 200,000 years, so it makes perfect sense. The same human now has been around for 200,000 years in Cro-Magnon man, which just came out of nowhere, and that's another mystery, Anyways, That's another video. There's a saying in Siberian shamanism called Hoyur Sage Negunde, which means 2 times becoming 1. And that's when you have a prayer or an intention, you're taking this moment that you're sending out this intention, and the moment of the intention becoming a reality, and then you're bringing them together. Quantum principle. There is no time, there is no matter. Everything is random access according to your consciousness and what you intend. Okay? So this isn't just woo-woo. This is quantum physics, which is verified. Alright? Alright. Love to you and all your loved ones and the experience of all that is. Thank you.